Hey everyone, Rayo here, and today I'm bringing you a build commentary video based on the DPS Alacrigade guide I recently posted. This commentary video is of me using the build in an endgame PvE scenario and commenting on what I was thinking and what the current situation was at the time, all in hopes to give you some insight on how you can use this build in a proper scenario as opposed to just on a DPS golem. If you'd like to check out the build guide that I made, make sure to check the video description for the link or click the card in the top right corner of this screen. Keep in mind that in this video, I'm assuming that you've either watched that video or are already familiar with the build or the rotation. And one final note, this is a one-take commentary, so you may have to meet me halfway in some of the verbiage. Enjoy the video. I would like to give a special thanks to my friend Will, who gave me the idea for this video. He's picked up Alacrigade himself and requested a commentary while using this build, so here it is. Before every encounter, we stack boons at the Mistlocked singularity. The way that we can stack boons on the DPS Alacrigade is by using any of the Kala spirits to give some protection uptime, as well as using F4 to get the Alacrity uptime. I'll also swap out my legends so I can get enchanted daggers or stability from Jalis or anything like that, but I switch the legends manually, that way it doesn't put them on a 9-second cooldown because that does not reset with the singularity. At the start of each fight, I will drop Darkrazor's Daring and use Surge of the Mists. Then I'll swap to Assassin stance so I can use Impossible Odds, Shackling Wave, and if I have enough energy, I will use Citadel Bombardment while the boss's break bar is up. This is just an in-between phase with not a lot of health on the Assault Knight, so I don't really invest too much into my rotation. I kind of just save my energy for the actual fight. So here you can see that I use Staff 3 to block this swing attack. That is to save energy as well as deal with all the potential projectiles that all these adds are about to shoot out. As you can see, I'm not using my F2 as much as I should be, so our might uptime is a little bit low. But you'll also notice that I am using Soulcleave Summit pretty much every single time I go into Kala stance. It's one of the first skills that I use. Whenever the break bar is active, I instantly swap to Assassin stance, Impossible Odds, use Sword 4. Here is just trash, so I'm just putting down fields to help cleave everything down. I'm trying to cleave as much as possible, because here so much your DPS rotation doesn't matter, it just matters that you hit as much as you can. Now you can see that some people are down, so to prevent the adds from cleaving them, I put down Darkrazor's Daring to help res them, because it constantly interrupts any sort of targets that don't have a break bar or a locked break bar. Leading up to this part, the DH pulled the adds into the center, so I preemptively put my spirit right in the center knowing that the DH was going to pull them there. That's important that you precast, that way as soon as they're pulled, they're being damaged as soon as the spirit is down. Now as we're starting up another boss, we're stacking boons again, and then once we've used all of our cooldowns that give boons, then we use the Mistlocked singularity, and then we run on to the boss. Now here I swap to my staff a little bit late, but in encounters like this where the CC bar is the first thing, I make sure to start in staff. That way, as soon as the bar is broken, my sword will be ready to be swapped to, because that's where my burst is at. Now the boss here phases at 66%, so I start to save my rotation so I can actually burst down my illusion right away. The reason why is this specific mechanic, and in other fights where mechanics are crucial to be done in a short time frame, that I make sure to have my rotation ready to go. Boss bar is up, so I always lead that with Surge of the Mist, or I always try and incorporate Surge of the Mist. Sometimes I don't use Darkrazor's Daring because it costs a lot of energy. But you notice that when I'm doing Surge of the Mist, I try and step back as far as I can to get the most hits out of the attack as possible so it can do more CC damage. On this illusion, I did a little bit better at saving my rotation, that way I could burst the illusion down right away. So here I'm in Kala, I put down Soulcleave Summit. I try and sneak in a little bit of CC at the beginning of this encounter before he goes and locks the CC bar. But while we're right here and we're idle, I would just use Soulcleave Summit because the party's not moving, but the bar is broken, so now I swap to Assassin stance. Then once I've done my Assassin rotation, then I swap back to Kala stance so I can use Soulcleave Summit. As this boss moves around quite a bit, I am trying to hug his backside, that way I can always be flanking him. It's good to flank even in fights where the boss doesn't have a designated tank, because you avoid a lot of the AoEs. So now that we have a split phase, there's a lot of downtime between when the boss becomes attackable again. So what I'm doing now is I'm camping in Kala stance so that I can build up my energy, as it's already at 100% right now, and I'm also making sure that I'm swapped to staff, because when this phase finishes, then it's going to be a CC phase right away. So I want to make sure that I have as much energy and as much of my cooldowns off cooldown as possible, especially my weapon swap, because as soon as his bar is broken, I want to make sure that I'm DPSing and taking advantage of that exposed buff. Now in this fight, since I have a lot of energy, I am putting down Soulcleave Summit because a lot of people, as you can see, there's DH traps going off, and each of those are proccing the life leech from Soulcleave Summit, so I'm trying to capitalize on that. In that case, I used Jade Winds even though it was high energy cost because I was trying to get that bar broken, or at least get a nice head start on that bar. I didn't use Darkrazor's Daring there because there wasn't that much of a break bar left, and between the 5 of us, just a couple CCs would have broken it, so that would have been too much energy to use for such a small amount of Defiance bar damage. Sometimes you'll notice that I will put down Darkrazor's Daring even when the boss's bar is not up. The reason why in that case is because my party member's downed, and in higher tier fractals there's a fractal Avenger that sometimes people don't CC, so Darkrazor's Daring will cleave all Avengers in the area and make it easier to res. Same story here, I'm doing Soulcleave Summit to capitalize on those traps, and I'm also saving my break bar here, that way I can break this second bar. And we broke the second bar, so now I'm using Impossible Odds, and I use Citadel Bombardment while in staff, because while I'm waiting for Sword to come off cooldown, using Citadel Bombardment with Impossible Odds doesn't have a difference whether you're using staff or dual swords. So you can use that before dual swords while you're waiting for your weapon swap to come off cooldown. Thank you all for watching. I hope this commentary could give you more of a tangible, real scenario experience of how this build would go. This was by no means a perfect display of the build, as I'm not a super optimized player, but this is a pretty close example to your average player. I will be posting more build guides with accompanying commentary videos, so make sure to follow my build guides playlist in the video description. If you'd like to keep up with me on social media, see me live on Twitch, or subscribe to my channel for future content, then you can also find links to do so in the video description. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, I'm Rayo, and I'll see you all in my next video.